All, we did not keep statistics such as infections or bleeding. We only kept statistics on surgery. And 1 out of 500 women in the last 18 months had a hysterectomy, a colostomy, and 1 woman died. Now, we were careful to get her out of the clinic before she died, so we could always say no one had ever died there, because that is a question women ask. Has anyone ever died here? We said no. And we told our staff nothing about the death. We didn't want them to be caught up in that. And when someone went to the hospital, we took them across town. An ambulance is terrible publicity in front of an abortion clinic. So we put them in my car, took them to a hospital where the staff and the hospital would help us in our cover-up. My doctor called in favors from other doctors. They falsified the records, and we did not show botched abortions. We had one woman who came in 22 weeks pregnant. We put her on the table. It was an in utero pregnancy. Everything was fine. We put her on the table. We put her on the table to examine her, and everything was fine. Moved her to another room for the late-term abortion. Now, my job was to hold that uterus for 2 of the abortions. It's the Hansen maneuver, and you tell him, okay, the head's here, the feet are here, the buttocks are here, and you actually move the baby down into the forceps. And the first time he went in, he pulled out placenta, which is normal. And the second time he went in, he perforated the uterus and pulled her bowel out. Think about that for a minute. That abortion is over on that table. You can't go back in there and pull more of her bowel through. He's missed the baby already. He has a hole in the uterus. We had to transport her to the hospital in my car. We had an IV started. She screamed the entire way. We got her to the back of the hospital in the emergency room, and one doctor came screaming out of the hospital, "I won't cover this one up for him, Carol. I will not cover this up." About that time, the doctor arrives, puts his arm around this doctor, and they're walking away, and the next thing I know, they come back, and they take the girl inside. They admit her, and after hours of surgery, the doctor comes out and tells me that it was an abdominal pregnancy. He tells me, as if I'm going to believe him, that that pregnancy was outside the uterus. That would have been, we would have been able to diagnose that in advance. We didn't, but that's what he told her. He took the baby, put it in a disposable drape, covered it up, and put it in the incinerator bag. And she walked out of that hospital with a colostomy and was told it was because it was an abnormal pregnancy, and it was not. I remember one doctor called me. I was actually outside the room, and they called me in and said, "This woman has a tumor at the back of her uterus, and I'm going to pull it off." And I thought, how can you pull a tumor off the back of a woman's uterus? It wasn't a tumor, Brad. He pulled her uterus wrong side out. And that woman had a hysterectomy because the doctor was too aggressive. Abortionists are not doctors. They don't save lives. They don't protect life. They take life. And they take lives in ways that you and I don't think of. Yes, they take the baby's life, but many times they take the woman's life because of their lack of standard of care.